3 cats can catch 3 mice in 3 minutes. How long will it take 10 cats to catch 10 mice? The same 3 minutes. No more, no less. There are 100 books on the shelf. To count off 10 of them, you need 10 seconds. How much time will you spend counting off 80 books? Just 20 seconds. You'll need this time to count off 20 books, and the rest will make 80. Smart, right? Even when it passes in front of the sun, it doesn't cast a shadow. What is it? It's the wind. Now let's get down to some serious stuff. Someone stole the money Michael kept in his safe. After watching the security footage, the police figured out that it had happened at midnight. They questioned 3 suspects. Hannah said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Liam told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11:45 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Aiden said he'd been with his friends, partying all night. The police arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Liam. He was suspiciously specific about the time. A man came to a jewelry store planning to buy an expensive diamond ring for his wife, but someone stole his wallet right in the store. The manager called the police and asked all the visitors who were inside at the time to stay until the officer's arrival. The police arrived and examined the people attentively. Soon, they knew who had taken the wallet. Can you figure it out too? It's the man in the middle. He has a bandage on his right arm, but it's wrapped over the sleeve of his jacket, not hidden under it like a real bandage would be. Detective Theodore Mitchell worked undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspected that the hotel owners were involved in some shady deals. Theodore's main task was to sneak into the manager's office and check the documents. But the door was locked, and there was a combination lock. Theodore had to solve a math riddle, and the answer would be the code. As soon as he punched in the code, the door opened. What was the correct number? The code was 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. A police officer knocks on the door. A man opens it. The officer informs the man that a plant pot fell out of his window an hour ago and hit a woman on the head. She's not badly hurt, but now the man needs to compensate this woman for the damage. The man lets the officer inside, but argues that the situation can't be true. He claims that his windows were closed an hour ago because he has just returned home. The officer knows that the man is lying. How has he figured it out? The police officer spotted a pan with boiling water in the kitchen. If the man indeed came home just a few minutes ago, the water wouldn't have had enough time to start boiling. 3 men were swimming in the sea. The weather was getting worse, and a coast guard asked them to leave the water. But when they got back to the shore, only 2 of the men had wet hair. Why? The third man was bald. A gust of wind blew a $100 bill out of the hands of a grocery store owner. The money seemed to have vanished into thin air. But in reality, one of the customers must have taken the bill. But no one wanted to admit to stealing the money. The woman was especially indignant and suggested that her bag should be checked. A security guard asked her to follow him to the office, but she refused to go. After that, the guard called the police. Why? The woman was standing on the $100 bill. If she followed the guard, everyone would see the money. A man found himself on an island inhabited by a tribe of savages. The tribespeople locked him in a house with only 2 exits. One of the doors led to freedom, while the other led to demise. 2 guards were in the house with him. One of them always told the truth, and the other always lied. The man was allowed to ask only one question to one of them. Of course, he didn't know which of them was the honest person and which one was the liar. What question should he ask to find the correct exit and save his life? The question he should ask is, what would your companion say if I asked which door leads to freedom? No matter who he asks, the answer will always be the wrong door. So, he should open the opposite door. It'll lead to freedom. One day, posters were put up in one of Prague's main squares. They read, "Beware of pickpockets." The local police knew that there were indeed many pickpockets in the area, but they actively tore down these posters. Why? There were many tourists in this square. The pickpockets themselves put up these posters. This made their job easier. People who read the announcement would instinctively check their valuables to make sure they were still there. At that moment, the thieves would watch them and figure out exactly where their targets kept their belongings. The police, realizing this trick, tore down the posters to prevent people from unknowingly helping the thieves rob them. Mary lived in a luxurious mansion. One day, she discovered that all her jewelry had mysteriously disappeared. The police arrived at the crime scene and realized that the theft had occurred very recently. They questioned 4 people who were in the house at the time of the incident. The gardener said he'd been tending the flower beds in the garden all morning. His hands were covered in green and brown stains from plants and soil. The builder claimed he'd been working in the yard, repairing the fence. His hands had splinters and small scratches. Mary's niece stated that she had been swimming in the pool all morning. And the maid said she had been cleaning the windows, so she was still wearing silicone gloves. The detective asked everyone to show their hands and immediately realized who was lying. Who is the thief? The niece. If she had really been in the pool all morning, her fingers would have been wrinkled. Elijah went on a cruise. On the 3rd day, he noticed that one of the staff members was an imposter. Look at them attentively and try to guess who it is. This waitress is actually hiding a police badge under her floral garland. She must be undercover. A precious 16th century brooch has been stolen from its glass display case in a museum. The only person who has entered it is the cleaning lady, Mrs. Douglas, who's been working there for 20 years. After examining the crime scene, the detective, who has come to investigate the case, arrests Mrs. Douglas. Why? Mrs. Douglas's habit let her down. After breaking the display case and taking the brooch, she carefully cleaned up the glass shards. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it, but there was a problem. They found not 1, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original. The others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All frames in the museum are made in the same style.
Our guy Noah here is a student working at a restaurant every night in order to make some extra money to pay the bills. At work, he sees the most absurd things possible. Sometimes he even has to crack detective cases. Let's help him, shall we? Noah arrives at work on the first day of the week and notices something unusual. 3 very well-dressed ladies are sitting at a table. He starts watching them and soon realizes that one of them is just pretending to be rich. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the woman in the middle. She's wearing a fake watch. The real brand is called Chanel and not Channel. After figuring out this mystery, Noah goes back to the kitchen to check if anyone needs help. There, he sees two cooks arguing. One of them is accusing the other of having poisoned the food. Ooh, that's a very serious accusation. But who really tried to poison one of the dishes? The chef on the right has a few stains left by food on his uniform, but after all, his job is cooking. Now look at the one on the left. His uniform is very clean, but there's a bottle in one of his pockets. Despite his speckless clothes, he is the culprit. Noah follows this chef after he storms out of the kitchen and discovers him rummaging through the trash cans outside the restaurant. The guy wonders what else he might be hiding. So he pays closer attention to the situation and soon understands what looks strange there. The trash cans, they're empty. It must mean that the guilty chef has already thrown away the poison and discarded the trash bags to get rid of any evidence that he attempted to commit a crime. Noah decides to keep an eye on the guy. Then, Noah returns to the restaurant through the front door and finds two customers looking like identical twins arguing in front of the receptionist. One accuses the other of being an imposter and says that he is the one who actually reserved the spot. Can you help Noah understand who is lying? The customer in the coat is wearing a mask to look like the guy who actually reserved a spot at the restaurant. Have you noticed this patch of skin on his wrist? His skin color is actually different from that on his face, which in reality is just a mask. Noah decides to go check the bathrooms to see if everything is okay. Outside, in front of the sink and mirrors, two women are standing. Suddenly, a new presenter announces on the radio that a dangerous female criminal has escaped from a maximum security prison. Strangely, both of the ladies look worried after hearing this. Noah immediately realizes that one of them has escaped from prison. But which one? The second woman, who is putting on makeup, is the fugitive the police are looking for. The bracelet on her wrist is actually not a real bracelet. It's a broken handcuff. She managed to escape, but she was unable to remove the handcuff completely. The next evening, Noah is serving one of the tables when he notices something strange about the customers sitting there. One of them seems to be not who they claim to be. Which one is it? The bearded man is actually a woman. Have you noticed her elegant hands with long nails she's hiding under the table? Plus, it looks like her mustache has unglued from one side. Uh-oh. Noah is the last one to leave the restaurant that night. Before he rounds the corner, he hears some suspicious noise and turns around. Oh no! Someone is sneaking into the restaurant. Noah calls the police and rushes inside to investigate. He switches on the lights and, at first sight, sees nothing out of the ordinary. But soon he realizes where the intruder is hiding. Have you spotted them too? A pair of boots are sticking out from under that curtain. That's where the intruder is hiding. The police arrive fast and arrest the intruder. Noah is finally free to go home. But the universe seems to be laughing at him that night. At one point, he realizes he's lost his way. In front of him, there are 3 roads. Which one should he opt for to stay safe? The road on the left doesn't have any streetlights further ahead and plunges into darkness. It might be unsafe to go there. The road on the right is guarded by a few unfriendly dogs. So, even though this street in the middle is very narrow, it's probably the safest option for Noah. Luckily, Noah gets home without any problem. To calm down, he decides to drink some chamomile tea with sugar. But he's so tired, he can't figure out which of these 3 jars contain sugar. Can you help our poor guy? Well, the substance in the jar on the left is pinkish, so whatever it is, it's not sugar. The jar in the middle contains something that looks like fine dust. It must be flour. So, the jar on the right is filled with sugar. Once, Noah's friends, Liza, Laura, and Mia, came to his restaurant. After the meal, they asked him if he could help them split their $56 bill. Noah did as they asked. As a result, Liza paid twice as much as Laura, and Laura paid twice as much as Mia. How much did each person pay? Mia paid $8, Laura paid $16, and Liza paid $32. The girls told Noah that they parked their cars not far from the restaurant, and the guy went to see them off. It had been snowing all evening, but surprisingly, they saw that only 2 cars had snow on them. Why was the 3rd car snow-free? Look, the 3rd friend was parked under a tree. It blocked the snow. Noah is going to work. Suddenly, he stops and stares at the scene in front of him. All because he realizes that not 1 but 3 things seem to be off in this street. What made Noah stop? First of all, it's these traffic lights. I mean, where's the red? Then, look at this tram. It doesn't have doors. Creepy. And finally, there are no tram tracks. Yep, there's something seriously wrong with this tram. A man rushed into the restaurant, claiming he had heard a very loud noise coming from the house next door. He was afraid to go investigate alone, so Noah went with him. They ran inside and found the house owner on the floor of his bedroom, tied and gagged. Once free, he said he had been in bed reading a book when a man in a black mask broke into his room. The criminal tied him up, took all his money, and disappeared. Noah didn't believe the man's story. Why? There isn't even a wrinkle on the covers of the bed. Something doesn't add up. The man must be lying, or the burglar is a very neat dude. Noah's colleague, Julia, who had helped him that day, called the restaurant and told the guy that she was running a bit late, but she promised to come at 8. When she finally showed up at 8:02, Noah was furious. Why? Noah works night shifts, so of course, he thought Julia would come in at 8 p.m., but the girl showed up at 8:02 a.m. Noah's boss gave the guy a sack with coffee beans and asked him to fill 2 empty sacks with the beans from the first sack. But the problem is, all 3 sacks are of the same size. How can Noah do it? He should put one of the empty sacks into the other and then fill it with coffee beans. Well, Noah's boss is away, but he needs to check some documents on his computer. So he calls Noah and asks for help. But the computer is password protected. The only hint Noah finds is a note hidden under the keyboard. It has these numbers and words. Can you help the guy figure out what the password is? It's moonlight. The number in front of each word refers to the corresponding letter of this word. Now, did you guess all of them correctly? Good job!
Hey, dear Brightside Detective, meet James. He's a regular guy, at first sight. In reality, very strange things tend to happen to him. See for yourself. Once James went swimming at a local lake, and guess what? One of the other beachgoers turned out to be a visitor from space. Look at these people attentively and help James figure out which one it is. It's the guy swimming in the lake. See that tentacle? It must belong to him, which makes him an extraterrestrial visitor. So bizarre. Luckily, he turned out to be pretty chill, and James made a new exotic friend.
Hello.
On the other hand, James's new acquaintance had a quirk. He liked making Earthlings crack his riddles. So, he asked James all of a sudden, "I'm a person, I'm a fruit, and I'm a bird. What am I?" Can you help our guy find the answer? The correct answer is kiwi. The next riddle seemed simple, but was it? It went like this. People buy me to eat, but never eat me. What am I? James actually spent quite some time trying to figure out the answer. How about you? It's a plate.
Oh my.
But James's new friend didn't stop. The next riddle was even trickier. He showed James a box and asked him to guess what was inside. Apparently, it was a color, but James could also eat it. What can it be? Inside the box was an orange. Luckily, James guessed correctly, so the visitor from outside the solar system gave him the fruit and let him be.
Yeah.
James breathed out and escaped from his weirdo of an acquaintance. He decided that after a nice swim, it was high time to go to a museum. He was looking at some pretty cool statues at the museum when suddenly he realized that one of them wasn't actually a statue. Which one was it? And how did he understand it? Look at the statue on the left. It has no wrist, so it must be the real thing. The head of the right statue has been replaced. See that seam on its neck? So it must be a statue too. But the one in the middle is a living and breathing human. Look at his pink cheeks and the drops of sweat on his forehead. Must be difficult to hold that arm raised all the time. At one point, James paid attention to 3 other visitors of the exhibition. All of them were very beautiful women, and James immediately fell in love. Yep, he's a very amorous guy. Sadly, one of James's new love interests is a vampire's wife. Let's save the poor guy and tell him which lady he should stay away from.
Oh.
The lady on the left might just have a very pale complexion. The one on the right is probably drinking some red-colored juice or cocktail. But the woman in the middle has been bitten recently. Look at her neck. So she must be the wife. Run, James, run! After having barely avoided grave danger, James decided to relieve stress and went to the gym. Beside him, there were only 2 other visitors, 2 young ladies. The one on the left is working out, and the one on the right is taking selfies on the latest iPhone. Look at them attentively and try to figure out which of them is indeed rich and which is just a make-believe. To understand it, you need to pay close attention to details. The woman on the left is wearing a cool fitness watch, which must be pretty expensive. Her training shoes are high quality but a bit worn out. It means she's a regular at that gym. Also, She has wireless ear pods, and a personal trainer is right next to her. As for the woman on the right, she looks flashy with her iPhone and jewelry. But if you look closely, you'll understand that this jewelry is cheap. And instead of sneakers, she's wearing flats. It seems she's never been to a fancy gym before, and she used a free trial entrance to take as many pics as possible. So the lady on the left is actually rich. Now, back to that orange James got from his extraterrestrial friend. He bought 4 more and gave all the 5 oranges to 5 boys he knew. They started eating the fruit. A finished eating before B, but after C. D finished before E, but after B. In what order did the boys finish eating apples? C, A, B, D, E. On his way home, James noticed that his neighbor's house was on fire. He also saw a firefighter nearby, but the man was just standing there doing nothing. Why wasn't this professional helping James's neighbor? Can you figure it out? Let's see how attentive you are. Have you noticed those pumpkins and Halloween decorations? The guy isn't a real firefighter and he's just wearing a Halloween costume. So James had to take matters into his own hands and help his neighbor put the fire out.
Oh my God!
The next day, James was invited to his cousin's wedding. But half an hour before the ceremony, the guy pulled his cousin aside and told her that her husband-to-be was cheating on her. How did he know? James spotted a lipstick stain on the fiancé's shirt, and the color was different from the one his cousin was wearing.
Oh no!
The wedding was canceled, and the fiancé got really angry. He locked James in a small room. To get out of there, the guy needed to figure out the password. It's the answer to this riddle. It can be hot, it can be cold. It can rush, and it can stay still. It can be hard, and it can slip through anything. What is it?
Oh my God!
It's water. After figuring it out, James was out of the room in no time. For a week, James's life was pretty uneventful until he got a call from a friend who lived in a different town. He claimed that a vampire family had moved into the houses next to his, and he was very worried. James couldn't leave him in the lurch, so he went there and found the right street. He saw 3 houses. James came up to the house which he thought was weird. Which one did he choose? A, B, or C? What do you think? Look at the footprints. Aren't they kind of strange? They lead to and from houses A and C. But what about house B? The footprints only lead in one direction, inside. Apparently, people come in, but they never get out of there. Creepy! James decided to check the house. He rang the bell. The vampire's wife opened the door. "A human, finally!" she exclaimed. "We need your help. Someone attacked my husband. Please find out who did it." James was shocked, but entered the house. He saw the vampire family. He asked them what they'd been doing during the attack. The brother said he'd been sleeping in his coffin. The son answered that he'd been cleaning his clothes and hadn't seen anything. And the wife said she'd been playing the piano. James immediately understood who had attacked the vampire. Have you figured it out? It was the vampire's brother. He said he'd been sleeping in his coffin, but this coffin is too small for him to fit inside. He's a liar. The vampire's brother got angry, but allowed James to leave. He even showed the guy where the exit was. But James saw not 1, but 3 doors. The room behind the first door was filled with dangerous, toxic gas. Behind the second door, A huge rock was hanging over the entrance. As soon as something or someone got inside, it would fall down. There was a hungry tiger waiting for its prey in the third room. Which door should James opt for? The guy took off one of his sneakers, opened the second door, and threw it inside. The rock crushed the shoe, and James easily got out of the house through the second door. Do werewolves bother you every full moon? Do ghosts haunt your attic? Do you suspect that your neighbor is a vampire? Well, Amelia is the person you need. She's a professional dealing with supernatural creatures, and here's what her regular day looks like. Right after waking up, Amelia had a simple mental warm-up before a hard-working day. She counted how many vampires there were in a hospital room, and it took her less than half a minute. How much time will you need? Well, the blonde woman has a bloody stain on her cheek. Suspicious. The twins seem to be vampires as well. The first one can't stand the light. The second one's feet are covered with mud. He must have been hunting barefoot last night. The black-haired lady holding her neck is turning into a vampire, and there's also one more vampire hiding beneath the bed. So, there are 5 vampires in total. Next, she decided to figure out which influencer was a vampire. Can you help her spot the supernatural creature? The first lady has a big collection of sunglasses. Is she trying to hide something? But why would she have a mirror then? Vampires have no reflection. The second lady, on the contrary, has no mirrors. She doesn't need them because she's a vampire. So she has a rail to hang on when she turns into a bat. On the first real case today, Amelia has been invited to investigate a biting case at a wedding. Shockingly, it's the groom himself who's been bitten. The bride and her maids look pretty suspicious. The redhead has fangs. The bride has a stain on her dress. And the black-haired lady has blood on her lips. Who's guilty? Look at the groom's body language. He's trying to ask for help, looking at the redhead, so she's not the one who bit him. The bride was the one who was close enough to the groom to bite him and to get that bloody stain. As for the black-haired lady, she just seems to have some makeup malfunctions. Amelia went to buy coffee and found this boy. He got lost. Soon, 2 women, if we can call them this way, appeared in front of her. Both the vampire and the alien claimed that the boy was her son. Help Amelia find out who the mother of the child is, the vampire or the alien. Look at the toy the boy is playing with. It's a little alien, so it seems that the boy and the redhead alien are relatives. Amelia hardly had enough time to drink her coffee when a client wrote to her. He suspected that one of his 2 new maids was a werewolf. Amelia looked at the girls' rooms attentively and realized which one was a werewolf. Have you guessed? The room on the left is messy and untidy, while the right one is almost immaculate. But there's one weird thing. Look at the headboard. There are belts to keep werewolves in place when it's full moon. The girl occupying this room is a werewolf. Amelia went to investigate another case. Someone in this family secretly became a vampire and they bit the father a second ago. Can you help her understand who it was? There's something red on the boy's plate, but it's likely ketchup. He's eating a burger. The boy is drinking something red, but it can be simple juice. Look at the mother. She doesn't seem to be wearing any lipstick, and still, she's got something red next to her lips. She must be a vampire. Plus, she's the only person tall enough to reach the man's neck. A businessman called Amelia and invited her to his office. He was sure that one of his employees was a vampire, Look at these office workers attentively and find the one who's not human. The lady is drinking good old water, and you can see some drops on her chin. The man in a blue shirt is drinking soda. We can see some bubbles in his glass. The blonde man seems to be drinking some tea or coffee, but we can't be sure since his cup isn't transparent. One more hint that he's a vampire is extensive makeup on his face and foundation stains on his white shirt and the plate. It means he covered his pale skin on his face and palms with makeup. He must be the vampire. In the afternoon, Amelia traveled to the seaside to crack some cases connected with mermaids. For example, she had to figure out which mermaid was this man's wife. Have you understood it too? Do you see that tattoo on the man's neck? It's the letter L. The mermaid on the right has a tattoo as well. It's the letter J. They almost likely had the first letters of each other's names tattooed on their skin, so they must be husband and wife. While she was on the beach, Amelia was watching people, and suddenly she realized that one of them wasn't human. Look at these young people playing beach volleyball. Can you figure out who's not human? It's this girl. If you compare her with her friends, she's the only one who's not sweating and isn't red-faced because of the heat and exertion. Amelia decided to take a bus to get to the city. At one point, she realized that some of the passengers on that bus were zombies. Can you spot them too? There are two zombies on the bus. This man with a bandage on his neck and one ear missing. And this business lady sitting near the window. She's making bizarre growling noises. After arriving at the city, Amelia found out that a robot had committed a crime. Unfortunately, the police were unable to catch the culprit immediately. But they suspended 3 people, and each of them could be the criminal. They invited Amelia to figure out the true identities of those people. She had a knife, a screwdriver, a bottle of water, and a pen. Which object should she use to reach her goal? Amelia should make the suspects drink from the bottle. The robot will either refuse or short circuit. A scared store owner called Amelia, claiming there was a vampire in his store. When she arrived there, she couldn't find the store owner, but there were 3 other people inside. Look at them attentively and help Amelia figure out which of them is a vampire. Well, the first one's eyes are pretty red, but maybe he hasn't had enough sleep or is coming down with the flu. The second visitor seems to be freezing. Almost all parts of her body are covered with some clothing. Could be the air conditioning. But look at the third person. He's drinking something red from a glass using a straw. He must be the vampire you're looking for. Now, where is that store owner? Amelia decided to drop by her office, and coincidentally, a very pale woman covering a bite on her neck with her hand entered. She said that when she'd been going home the evening before, someone had attacked her and turned her into a vampire. She wanted to find the culprit. After investigating the case, Amelia had 3 suspects. Look at them attentively and find the one who turned the woman into a vampire. This elderly man has no teeth, so he can't be a vampire. This woman has tan marks, but vampires can't sunbathe. So the man wearing gloves must have turned Amelia's client into a vampire. Since it was almost the end of the week, Amelia decided to take a mini vacation and go to visit her friends in Miami. During dinner, they told her about a mysterious mansion with a very bad reputation. Those who once entered it never came back. Amelia went to explore the building. Soon, she realized she was lost. Suddenly, she found herself in a large room with 4 doors. Behind the first door, there was a mummy. Behind the second door, a vampire was hiding. The third door led into the den of a hungry wolf. And behind the fourth door, there was a ghost. Which door should Amelia opt for to get out of the mansion unharmed? The mummy can potentially be very dangerous. The vampire behind the second door is also far from friendly. The wolf, especially hungry, can easily attack a person. In comparison, the ghost is relatively harmless. Amelia should choose the fourth door. And which supernatural creature scares you most? Comment below. Mary and Sue headed outside to build a snowman in their yard. They topped off their frosty creation with a black hat. The next morning, they were shocked to find the hat missing. Determined to find the culprit, they questioned their neighbors. Mrs. Lee said she'd been busy baking cookies all evening and hadn't seen a thing. Mr. Carter claimed it was too cold to step outside. Tim, the boy next door, said he hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary. So, who snatched the hat? It was Tim. He mentioned he hadn't seen anything unusual, but how could he know that if he hadn't looked outside? Plus, let's face it, pulling off a snowman's hat is exactly the kind of mischief a kid would get up to. On Christmas Eve, the Johnsons hung 5 stockings above the fireplace, 1 for each family member. The next morning, they found a 6th stocking filled with candy. No one fessed up to adding it. Who is the mystery stocking stuffer? It was Santa, of course. He left the extra stocking as a sweet surprise, just like he loves to do. On Christmas morning, the Smith family found all their presents under the tree unwrapped, but nothing was missing. The only clue was a trail of cookie crumbs on the floor. The suspects were the 3 kids, Emily, Tom, and Lily. Emily said she'd been decorating cookies in the kitchen. Tom claimed he'd been watching TV. And Lily said she'd been wrapping a gift in her room. Who unwrapped the presents? It was Emily. The trail of cookie crumbs matches the ones she was decorating. She must have snuck over to the tree to open the presents while munching on some cookies. At a corporate New Year's party, employees dressed up in costumes. There were 10 warehouse workers, 4 programmers, and several secretaries. The programmers dressed as squirrels, the secretaries as rabbits, and the warehouse workers split evenly, half as rabbits and half as foxes. In total, there were 4 squirrels, 10 rabbits, and 5 foxes. How many secretaries were there? There were 5 secretaries. Let's do the math. Half of the warehouse workers dressed as rabbits, making 5 warehouse worker rabbits. With 10 rabbits in total, that leaves 5 secretaries. Santa is known for skipping presents for the naughty. This year, he's got a puzzle. 3 women stand before him, and one has been very mischievous. Santa needs to figure out who it is. The first woman is dressed as a police officer, holding handcuffs. The second is in a maid costume, holding a duster, with the head of a teddy bear in her pocket. The third is in a teacher's outfit, wearing glasses and holding a pointer stick. Santa takes a closer look and spots the troublemaker. Who is it? It's the maid. Look behind her back. Those are the legs of the teddy bear sticking out. She ripped off the teddy bear's head. Definitely naughty. Luke headed to the mall to snag some new Christmas decorations without breaking the bank. He had a strict budget of $10 and not a penny more. Luckily, the mall had a promo. For every 3 baubles he bought, he'd get 1 free. Each bauble cost 90 cents, So how many baubles could Luke take home with his $10? First, let's see how many baubles he can buy. A quick bit of math helps here. $10 will get him 11 baubles, since 11 baubles cost $9.90, fitting perfectly within his budget. Now, let's figure out the freebies. We divide 11 by 3, which gives us 3 with a remainder. Since you only get a free bauble for every complete set of 3, Luke gets 3 free baubles. So, with $10, Luke can walk away with a grand total of 14 baubles. Not bad for a thrifty shopper. One winter morning, Mr. Jackson stepped out to his front yard and saw a mysterious figure standing there. The figure didn't move, speak, or do anything unusual. The next morning, the same thing happened. But Mr. Jackson didn't seem to mind having such a guest in his front yard. The figure stayed for several weeks, but then it disappeared. Why and what happened? It simply got warmer, and the figure melted away because it was a snowman. It so happened that while Santa was sleeping, Krampus locked him in his room with no way to get out. But that doesn't mean the kids won't get their gifts. They will, as Krampus has his own plans. Traditionally, Krampus would punish naughty kids with birch rods, but this year, he's feeling generous. Each kid will get to choose 1 out of 3 boxes, and only 1 will contain an actual gift. The other 2 will have, well, let's just say they'll be pranks. Can you guess which one of these 3 boxes has the real gift? It's the box on the left. The one might have appealing wrapping, but the flies buzzing around it make it look suspicious. As for the box on the right, see those black fingerprints? It's probably full of coal. So the box on the left looks the safest. Actually, it's not entirely true that Santa had no way out. Long story short, he managed to escape that room and Christmas was saved once again. But how did he do it? Let's rewind a bit to Santa's room. Take a closer look. Sure, the window is too small and too high up for Santa. But remember how he usually gets into houses? That's right, through the chimney. And guess what? There's a fireplace in the room. Santa could have waited for the fire to go out, but there was a bucket of water right next to it. So Santa used the chimney to escape. Chloe was getting ready for Christmas dinner. She wanted to bake some cute Christmas cookies, but she didn't have enough ingredients in her kitchen. So she wrote a grocery list and gave it to her husband. However, she made it a bit tricky. Instead of words, she drew a picture. It showed a cow in a bottle with a lot of flowers around it. Based on this picture, what was Chloe's husband supposed to buy? A bottle of milk and a lot of flour. Okay, let's play Santa. These 3 guys, Jake, Glenn, and Finn, don't believe in Santa anymore, so they didn't bother writing any letters to him. But Santa really wants to make them happy by bringing them gifts, so he sends a few of his elves to observe the guys and figure out which present would make each of them happy. Can you help them out? First up is Jake's room. Which gift would be the best for him? Jake seems to be really into music, so a shiny new guitar would be a perfect match. Next, there's Glenn's room. What is the best possible gift for him? Judging by all the posters on his wall, Glenn likes skateboarding. And if you look closely, you'll see that his skateboard is broken and tucked under his desk. So Santa can make him happy with a new skateboard. Finally, there's Finn's room. This one seems a bit harder. His room doesn't have many clues like the others did. Pay attention to the smallest details. Let's see. Plain gray walls, nothing interesting. The desk is pristine, not a trace of anything that could give us a hint. Look, there's a cat bed that's empty. No cat photos, no cat bowls. Nothing that shows there's an actual cat living there. Does that mean all Finn wants for Christmas is a cat? Maybe, but giving a pet as a gift isn't very sensible, so Santa will get him a nice plush cat instead. Okay, everyone got their gifts, but what about Santa? You need to show your gratitude for the gifts. While it might be hard to pick the perfect gift for him, he can't resist yummy food. Take a look in the fridge and see what you could treat Santa to. Of course, it's milk and cookies. Traditionally, it's a glass of milk and some cookies that you leave out for Santa, so make sure to stock up before the festive season. Cheers!